Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Precision Rifle Media. This week I've got Chris Opfer with me. He owns Target Hanging Solutions. So if you're looking for targets, they are AR 500, correct?
Yep.
Yeah, AR 500 steel targets. He's got a awesome selection of coyotes and trees and spinners and poppers and all kinds of stuff. So go to targethangingsolutions.com. Probably the AR 500 posts; those are sweet too. Those for hanging targets. Like, anybody who's been shooting at T posts long enough knows that you're gonna hit the post. You're gonna have a bad time. This eliminates that. Because you remember, Chris, they used to even have those little like shields that used to cover the bottom like 4 inches of the target. Remember?
Oh yeah. I still make those, but I don't sell a lot of them anymore.
Yeah, yeah. Used to see that quite a bit. That little because most of the time you're dropping shots just below, right? But yeah. So check out Target Hit or uh, Target Hanging Solutions. I wanted to say Target Hit Indicators for some reason, which hasn't been a thing for quite a while. But
Yep.
Target Hanging Solutions, check them out for steel targets. But the reason that we're here is to talk about the PRS match up here in South Dakota. It's still presented. I'm going to let you introduce it. Introduce yourself and introduce the match.
All right. Like you said, I'm Chris Opfer. I'm running the THS Steel Challenge presented by TS Customs. That's going to be on July 20th and 21st out by Fort Pierre, South Dakota. We had our inaugural 2-day PRS match last year, and it went pretty smooth. I was pretty happy with how it ran, and Ken Wheeler, the PRS director, was there. He was, he really liked the match. He had a fun time, and this year he asked us to make it an AG Cup match, which was pretty big honor, I would say, and testament for how well it went last year. So we're excited about that.
Yeah, it went super good last year. It was a fun match. The bells I didn't love.
Yeah, they're tough to hit.
Yeah, they were tough to see.
Yeah.
But otherwise, yeah, it's an awesome venue, awesome area. That's a sweet part of the state too.
Yep. Yeah, there's a lot going on there. I mean, you got the rivers just a few miles. Missouri River is just a few miles from the match location. Most people are staying in Pierre or Fort Pierre, which is right there on the river. So there's a lot of stuff to do, especially if you're an outdoorsman.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I always stay at the Fort Pierre Motel. I know that a lot of people stayed at the I don't even remember is it a Holiday Inn right there?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, there was quite a few people stayed there, but I always like that Fort Pierre Motel. They're like that real down home. It's clean. It's like been recently updated. It's nice. Sometimes those places people don't want to stay there because they don't know. They're like, well, do the cockroaches have crack rocks or
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
But I've been staying there for deer hunting and fishing and other stuff. So I always stay at the Fort Pierre Motel there. It's right on the river, and my wife's family's got land just a little bit further west than where the match is.
All right, on. Well, that's handy. It's a good place to go hunting.
Yeah, it's just a quarter of ground. It's all pasture, but so you could just kind of drive up there and be like, oh yeah, I guess we're not going out here now.
Hey, you wait around long enough, you'll see something.
That's possible. There is water. There's a big stock dam there. One of the few places over there that's got that. But yeah, the match was awesome last year. Because you got a 1-day match that already happened though, right?
Not this year yet. May 18th we're having the 1-day match.
Oh, May 18th. Okay.
Yep.
Is that a 1-day PRS match?
Correct. Yep. Correct. The only one in South Dakota.
Yeah. What's the deal with that, you think?
I don't know. I mean, I'm a PRS shooter. I host a big 2-day PRS match, so I'm going to hold a 1-day match, it's going to be a PRS regional match. Some of the other match directors in the state just, I guess, I don't know, don't want to.
Do you think it's because we kind of got left high and dry, like with the NRL and the PRS, and we were like on the division years ago, and everybody was kind of leery about like, well, if I sign up for the PRS, I got to go this way, and if I sign up for the NRL, I got to go that way, and then everything, there was some turmoil there, and Ken's got it back on track and everything's real smooth and going good now. And I mean, the NRL, unless you're shooting the Hunter series, is gone.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I guess I'm not really sure why. I know a lot of people in the state like to shoot, a lot of prone stuff, which might differ from other parts of the country, and maybe that has something to do with it. I think when some people think precision rifle series, they think that they're just going to be shooting positional the whole time, but we do have the freedom to run the match, a lot. We have a lot of freedom on how we want to run it. I'm actually going to run 60% prone this time. So 6 stages will be prone or modified prone, and then 4 stages will be positional. Last year, every match I ran was like 50-50. So kind of just leaning a little bit more towards our shooter base, at least for the local match. But
sure.
For the 2-day match, we'll probably stick to that 50-50 mark.
Yeah. That makes sense, because especially with an AG Cup, you're going to have people traveling from so far. I'm assuming, right?
Right.
Because there's only, how many AG Cup qualifiers are there?
Oh, putting me on the spot. I'm not really sure how many there are, but there's probably, if I was to guess, 10 to 12 maybe.
Yeah, it's not a ton when you're talking about the series as a whole,
Right.
So I could see people wanting to make it specifically up to this one, this will drive a lot of top guys, right? Guys looking to compete in the AG Cup.
I hope so.
Yeah. So, having it be a 50-50 deal, that's the hard part, right? You're catering to the whole country at this point, not just,
yeah,
not just us locals.
Right. Yep. And I mean, we can do plenty of things with some prone stages to make them tougher too. So I plan on putting together a fun but challenging course fire. I mean, especially if we're going to have some really top competition, it's not going to be an easy match.
Yeah. Tell them to shoot the triangles, but put bells out there.
Well, they were triangles, but to keep the target, them small triangles, keep the target from cracking around the hanger hole, you got to have more material around there, and then it just kind of ends up not looking like a triangle, unfortunately. But
is that what they're doing?
Yeah.
I remember looking out there and being like, they're bells. That's not a triangle.
Yep. Yeah, the 2 closer ones definitely were basically a bell shape, and then the last 2 I think were actual triangle shapes. So
yeah. Boy, those first 2 were hard to find off that. You're shooting off that log, right? That big down tree.
I think we shot off a spool on those.
Was
like
it a
modified prone? I think so.
God, maybe it was. Either way, I remember I could not find the first 2, and it was a shoot to move, I believe, right?
I don't think so. I think it was near to far, 2 shots each, and then I think you had to come back to the near one.
Yeah.
But we did have a skyline target, and there was a tree in the background, so it was kind of tough to find that second one for sure.
Yeah, definitely. That was half the battle. I mean, for me, that's probably one of the biggest things that I have trouble with is finding all the targets and then keeping it straight as I'm shooting and going to the right target every time. God, I have a heck of a time with that. I need to shoot more is what I need to do.
Yep. It all comes down into stage prep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I could have the greatest plan in the world, and as soon as the buzzer goes off, that's
a lot of people struggle with that.
Is that what you said? Shoot real fast? Okay, I can do that.
Yeah, a lot of people struggle with that.
So what's going to be changed from last year? You got any big changes? Or, I mean, obviously you can't shoot the same quick fire.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be moving some posts around. I've already moved quite a few posts around. But moving targets, moving props. I'm going to hopefully be bringing in a couple different props to put into the mix.
Can you talk about them? Or not yet?
I'm not entirely sure what I've got going on just yet for the 2-day.
All right. I don't know if you can talk about it ahead of time to so people can practice or not. That might be against the rules. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think talking about it, at least not I don't think it's a big deal. We're not going to be giving away specific stage details, but
True.
We do have a couple different barricades, and then I'm always looking for something that I can bring in there. I always want a vehicle to shoot out of. Last year it was kind of tough getting a vehicle. We borrowed one from a guy, and it kind of showed up last minute, so that was kind of spur of the moment on that stage. But I'm hoping to get something nailed down a little bit better for that this year. Maybe one that works out better.
That pickup truck. That was, everybody's got the Arca rails now.
Mm-hmm.
Which, like I showed up and it was like the first 2-day match I've shot in a while, right? So everybody was making fun of me, Oh, you got a sling, you going hunting.
Yeah.
So I still got a bipod mounted to a, I don't know, Picatinny rail, or I don't even remember what it's hooked up to anymore, but everybody's got their fancy little adjustments and stuff, and they throw the thing off the end. I'm like, God, that looks pretty sweet. And there I am, like, fumbling around.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of little gadgets now to make things a little bit easier. It's gotten to be a pretty big business for some guys, so it's good though, growing the sport.
Yeah, for sure. What are you looking at for a vehicle right now? Do you have anything in mind or no?
Oh, I know I can get one that's kind of a front half of a vehicle that's been pulled out of a junkyard or something. I know I can get one of those lined up and out there. So that's in the mix, but I would like to find I want to find an old square body pickup. That's what I grew up hunting out of. I'd like to just find one I could go park on the firing line and make a good stage out of that, shoot off the roof or something.
Well, there's like a solid half a dozen of them for sale out here for $3,000 to $5,000.
Yeah. Yeah, they're not as cheap as they used to be.
Oh no.
Used to be able to pick one up that drives for $500, and now they want.
Yeah, it wasn't too long ago. You could just show up and be like, "I'll get rid of that for you," and they'd be like, "All right."
Yeah.
I mean, really, I used to do that all the time.
And now they want
show up to some farmer's place and be like, "I'll get rid of all that stuff for you," and they'd be like, "That'd be great,"
Yep. And now you got to pay $4,000 for one that doesn't run. It's like, well, now I got to haul it on a trailer.
I know.
So, yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I'm always on the lookout for stuff to shoot off of. I wouldn't mind getting some concrete culverts or one of them concrete road barricades or something out there. Maybe get some railroad ties and come up with something creative to do with those. So
you got railroad ties?
I don't have any at the moment, but I can find some.
I might have a pretty solid source for those, but there are all the way down here in Sioux Falls. So,
well, that's not as far as I was looking. So I might have to get a hold of you.
Yeah, I'll take a look. Yeah, those great big ones. That'd be cool. It'd be like at Ken's match in Wisconsin, the barrel maker, back when they were shooting out of that helicopter.
Yeah,
that was kind of cool. That old airframe or whatever that was.
Yeah, I don't think we probably won't have a helicopter frame out here, but
no, please don't. I cramped up. Did I ever tell you about that? I cramped up and I had a big cramp right in the middle of my chest.
Oh, geez.
And so I was like trying to get rid of the cramp, and then RO leans in there like, "Are you all right? Are you having a heart attack?" Like, I'm just fat, out of shape. It's fine. Just hold on.
Oh, yep.
Get done with that. I slam a half a jar of pickle juice. Yeah, that was a train wreck. That was embarrassing. I shouldn't be talking about it. But no, that was cool.
But yeah,
a big tractor to put up out there.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind getting some farm equipment out there. I just got to find something, hopefully, that we don't have to haul too far. I mean, it's not my property, so I can't, just leave a bunch of junk out there. And
right,
we're 2 hours away from there, so getting things to and from there is not super handy for me. So ideally, it's something that can be moved fairly easily.
Yeah.
Or driven out of there.
Yeah, right. It'll be like out in Wisconsin, you'll have a bus and a fire truck and a Hemet and a
Yeah, Yeah, Wisconsin. That was a fun match. I wish that one was still going on. I'd be going to it.
Yeah, it's a bummer. It's a bummer that they didn't carry that on. But I think they lost the ground was the biggest part. That was the biggest
Right.
part between Ken taking over the PRS and then losing the ground.
Yeah. Yeah, they ran a good match. I mean, I learned a lot from Ken, running that match and just talking to him on things that he's learned over the years. So it's a good one to try to, I guess, compete with for quality of match.
Right. And he gave out them those sun shirts that year.
Yep.
That was pretty awesome.
Yep. I think we're going to be doing, we'll probably be doing the insulated tumblers again.
Oh, nice. I like those though. They're for one, you can't have too many.
Right.
And for two, it's fun. Like I like to, you go to work or whatever with a bunch of people that like don't do anything cool, and they all got questions. You got.
Yep.
I got a Steyr arms one, just a off little tangent, I guess. But the guy's like, "Where'd you get that?" I'm like, "Down in New Mexico, at Raton or whatever." He's like, "Why'd you get a Steyr Farms tumbler?" I'm like, "Steyr Farms?" He goes, "Yeah, isn't that what that says? The F fell off." I'm like, "No, it's Steyr Arms. They make guns and stuff." Oh,
Yeah.
I thought there's the Steyr farm down the road. I thought
Yeah.
people out of touch. You gonna have the award ceremony at the same place?
Yep. That's the plan.
Is there a place to stay up there that you recommend? I know I talked about the Fort Pierre Motel, but do you get like block rates or something somewhere? Or?
I don't, honestly. So we pushed the match back a week this year, hoping to avoid the walleye tournament that was going on last year, and they used up, they were hogging up a bunch of the hotel rooms in town.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they moved the walleye tournament back a week too. So now we're competing with that again. So I would say find any room you can, get it booked early, and yeah, main thing is get it booked early.
Yeah, they moved the walleye tournament to avoid that rifle match that was hogging up all the rooms.
I kind of doubt we were on their radar, but who knows? But I mean, another benefit to moving our match was last year we had a match in Arkansas that was the same weekend. I know it's quite a ways away, but you get the guys that are halfway in between us, and they're going to split up. Some of them are going to go to Arkansas, some are going to go to South Dakota. So we were hoping to maybe snag a few more shooters that way.
Sure. Yeah, and then up at that Fort Pierre. Well, for anybody who is going, you probably got to go to the Cattleman Club.
That's what I hear. I have not been there yet.
You never been to the Cattleman Club?
Nope, not there.
It's good. I don't want to get in too much trouble, but it's good food. It's expensive, but if you're willing to pay good money for good food, you'll be happy.
Right on.
It's like a fancy, like Westernish type steak dinner place or whatever.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I've heard a lot of good things about it. I know a lot of guys that go and insist on eating there every time they come to my match, so must be decent.
Yeah. Well, if I get up there for the match this year, I'm not sure. I think we talked about it, but I just had a baby 3 weeks ago. Well, my wife did. So we're still kind of figuring that stuff out. But if I make it, I'll take you out there.
Well, congrats. I didn't know you just had a baby 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Well, that'll keep you busy.
Well, because when we talked at the gun show, I had just done my surgery, right?
Yeah, I think so.
My wrist.
I think so.
Yeah, because then that was 7 days before the baby came.
Right on.
I actually ended up in the ER that night that we talked.
Really?
Yeah, because my arm, the nerve block wore off.
Oh, jeez.
And I couldn't get caught back up on the pain. It was a son of a gun.
Well, at least you're healed up now, or it looks like it anyway.
Yeah, I'm better than I was anyway.
Right on. Good deal.
So the registration's up for the match, right?
Yep, it's open. I think we're about 3/4 full right now.
Oh, cool. So you've picked up some people since we talked last week too.
Yeah, they're just kind of trickling in slowly. Every week I get a couple more guys in there. So
Nice.
Yep.
Nice. Yeah, it's a good match. It's easy to get around there. It's easy to get to the match. It's no last year we didn't have any target issues that I can recall.
Nope.
No,
I don't
no
plan on
failure.
having any either.
Well, you might know a thing or two about targets, but yeah, there was no target failures, no real issues at all. If I remember it running just pretty smooth, just which is all you can ask for out of it. I mean, I know that the failures they're down a lot from 10 years ago. 10 years ago, it seemed like every hour you were waiting for a target to get fixed or something, or
Yeah.
target would break and you'd have to shoot the backup target and whatever. But a lot of that seems to be pretty figured out.
Well, and that's how I've come up with the products we've got on the market now is going to matches and seeing what's happening. You get tired of waiting for people to fix targets all day long and figure out why these things are failing and what you can do to fix the issue. So that's how I've come up with a lot of my products, just going to matches and finding out where the weak point is, I guess.
Yeah, and if we just make the post out of AR 500, there
Yep.
goes there goes 3/4 of your issues.
Yep. Yes, I mean that's not the cheapest option out there for hanging targets, but in my mind, it's the best.
Yeah, but what's one run? I mean, they can't be that expensive. I mean,
a 5-footer on the website's $100.
yeah, but so like a T post is what, $10, not even $7, call it at a farm store. But by the time you replace it and you have to drive it that many times and you have to pull the old parts out and you have to, you've paid for it.
Yeah. I mean, the biggest benefit is just not having to shut down your match and keep everyone there late. I mean, that is by far the biggest benefit of it. I mean, it's a time suck when you have to be fixing targets in a match.
Yeah.
You're shutting 100 shooters down for 15, 20 minutes at a time every time a target goes down. So yeah, that's the main thing.
Yep. Who's bringing lunch?
Well, we're gonna have the landowner's son-in-law wanted to do it after being there last year. He does some pretty good barbecue stuff, so he talked to me about it last year after the match and said he really wanted to do it. So I've talked to him a little bit, and it sounds like he still plans on doing that. So it's gonna be him as far as I know. Unless something falls through, I got a backup plan. Probably be the same guys last year if we can. But that is the plan as of right now.
Nice.
Yep.
The award ceremony, where's that at? What's the name of the place?
So it's a community youth involved center there in Fort Pierre. It's a pretty big area. We got a stage to set up, all the prizes and to do all the trophies and stuff from. There's plenty of seating out there. They make food right there. They got a kitchen in there. I was pretty happy with how it went last year. I guess I didn't really hear any complaints, and they got some good space there. So
yeah, wasn't there? What was the? Weren't we at a bar or something? Was that the first night?
So that would have been for one of the one-day matches. We went to the Long Branch.
Oh, that's what that was.
Yep.
That's right. I'm getting them kind of confused.
Yeah, and we do plan on going there for the one-day match again this year on May 18th. So
yeah, because they had good food. I remember that.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a good little venue.
Yep. We're gonna try. I think we're gonna try like more of a buffet style meal this time. Just make it easier for them because it was kind of tough. We had We had like 80 people ordering food. It was tough.
Yeah, that's the thing. You get 80 people that show up to a place that's used to having, 2 to 5 probably trickle in,
Yeah.
you're trickling there, and then you slam them with 80. That's a lot of cooking for one dude on the grill.
Yep.
It was good though.
Yep. I think we got that figured out this year anyway.
Nice. Yeah. Now that you mentioned, I do remember going to the community center there for the awards ceremony.
Yep.
It's been a long, busy year, and things are blurring together now.
Yep. No, I get that.
Yeah. Who all do you got on board for sponsors or for the like prize table show? I know that you were posting. There's a lot of big names.
Yeah, I could run through a list if you want me to.
Yeah, go ahead, do it. I think it'd be good just to. I mean, these are the people that support us, right? They're the ones that support our sport, and maybe a lot of people that listen, they're new to the sport. Trying to get information about the sport. And I think it'd be good just to run through it, and just for people to know that these are the people that support us,
Right. I mean, first and foremost, Travis Stevens at TS Custom stepped up to be the title sponsor once again. That's a huge support to me as a match director, and Travis supports a ton of matches across the country.
Yeah.
He builds some of the best hunting guns in the nation. He does all my barrels for my competition rigs, and they always shoot lights out. I can't say enough about the quality of work he does. It's just, I mean, it's amazing what he can spit out of his shop there. Right now he's in a pretty small shop, and they put out a ton of barrels, ton of rifles. He is currently putting up a bigger shop, so I'm excited to see what's going to come from them here in the coming years. But can't thank them enough for being our title sponsor once again. And then on top of that, we had Vortex Optics step up with a huge sponsorship. They're going to put a ton of stuff on the prize table for us. Our other big one, we had another pretty big sponsor here. Silencer Central. They're out of Sioux Falls. They're putting a ton of certificates for free suppressors on the prize table.
Dude, something too to remember about that is a lot of times I have looked over the silencers, because it's like, well, then you got to pay the $200 tax stamp and wait a year and all that. Dudes are getting stamps back in like a couple weeks.
Yeah, and they're putting, what is it? I think 11 free suppressor certs
11?
on the prize table. 11. I mean, that's just huge. So can't say enough about them. They've been supporting us since day one. Another big sponsor that we got here in the last week was Loophole Optics. I think they sent over a bunch of glass. They sent, for our one-day match, they sent over a Mark IV, and it sounds like they're sending over a Mark IV for the 2-day AG Cup match as well.
Nice.
But then beyond that, we've got a ton of sponsors on board so far, and I'm still gathering sponsors.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Area 419, we got Bartline Barrels, Brooks Barrels, Coltac, Defiance Machine, Foundation Stocks, Gray Ops, Hawkins Precision, Hodgdon, Hornady, HS Precision, Impact Actions, Kestrel, Krieger Barrels, Lone Peak Arms, Mac Bros, Magpole, Manor Stocks, MDT, Masterpiece Arms, Muley Freak, Night Force Optics, Phalanx Arms, Prairie Tactical, Precision Reloading, RCBS, Run to Gun, Short Action Precision, Shields, Shooter's World, Thunder Beast Arms. Let's add a couple of these. Weebad, XLR Industries, and Zermatt Arms.
Oh, nice.
So
Yeah, that's a
pretty big list so far.
Yeah. How many? Where's the cap for competitors?
So I'm capping it at 130. I do have some of those 130 are going to be sponsor slots. Some of those bigger sponsors.
So, I mean, you go shoot this match and your chances of walking away with something pretty good are pretty high.
Yeah, I always try to make sure I got something, worth roughly your match fee for, I mean, over half the field is what I aim for. Ideally, you'd have something for almost everyone in the match that was worth their match fee, just because I think that, I mean, that's just icing on the cake for the shooters. So
yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm gonna have to see what my schedule looks like and try and get in on this.
I think it'd be a good one. There's a lot of those sponsors. I mean, they sent 10 things a piece. Some of them did some pretty good items. So should be a pretty sweet prize table.
Yeah, and I don't want to make it seem like just go shoot for the prize tables, but because that's not what it's about, right? But
Right.
it sure is fun to go walk the prize table.
I mean, aside from the prize table, like I said, we do plan on putting on a pretty awesome course of fire. And
well, that's the thing. Shooting it last year, like I said, shooting it last year was enough to just for me to know that it's worth going and shooting. I mean, it was a fun match, very field oriented. A lot of what I think would be practical stages, right? Like, like there's like the prairie dog stage, I mean, very practical that you would be set up that way shooting prairie dogs. The coyote stage, very practical that you would be set up shooting coyotes that way.
Yep. And that's by design.
Yeah, right. I think that's something for me, like personally, the shooting from all the weird stuff is fun, but it's, I don't know. It makes you a better shooter. That's for sure.
Yep.
There's something about doing it in like a practical application, that appeals to me more than some of the goofiness,
Right. Yep. And that's where, I mean, some of that stuff, it's hard to always, get the right prop and have something, get the variety you need and have it be practical. So it's not always possible, but that is something that we aim for when we're setting up stages. I always try to go positional prone. On top of that, you're trying to space out the long distance stages so they're equally spaced throughout the match, so it doesn't really matter where you start. And then also going animal stage and then a geometric shape like a circle, square, diamond, triangle, and then go animal stage and just alternate throughout the match. Just trying to keep all things considered like as even as possible across the board. And that's another reason why everybody shoots the same 10 stages each day. It takes more ROs to do that. We got to have 20 ROs to run 10 stages. So if anyone's wanting to RO, we are looking for ROs. We do pay them a little bit of cash for their efforts, and if they need a place to stay, we do offer that as well. But I think having 2 ROs per stage is just something that keeps the match flowing. It keeps it as fair as possible for everyone across the board from every squad. But the big thing, at least for me as a match director, is it keeps everyone flowing along really good. When you're not, the shooters aren't having to spot themselves. They should always be ready when it's their turn to shoot. And then, like I said, it's as fair as possible.
Yeah. Yeah, it's it is nice to do it that way. It's like you don't see it so much anymore, but there used to be some matches that would be a little bit like you'd shoot even like a different range almost between the 2 days, and you might get split halfway, and it was a little bit weird.
Yeah. Well, we had talked about running 20 consecutive stages and just having 1 RO per stage. You can run more stages on Saturday that way and get done earlier on Sunday. But the bad thing about that is not everyone shoots the same stages in the same wind conditions. So, somebody was over here shooting the harder stages and tough wind on Saturday, and then on Sunday, maybe there's no wind, and then you got other shooters that go shoot that stage and they score much better because they weren't battling the wind like the other guys were. It's just not. I mean, usually it works out fine that way, but that's just not how I prefer to do it, I guess.
Yeah. Do you remember Jim C's match where he had like the tee times?
Yep.
I heard people really like that, but you don't hear about people doing that anymore. Is it just because of the weather conditions and stuff? You might have to shoot at 1 o'clock when the wind's picked up a little bit over shooting at 8 o'clock when it's usually a little calmer. Is that kind of the deal, you think? Or
I guess I'm not really sure. I know at least I think the reason that he did that was in the middle of COVID, I think, and they were just trying to keep big groups of people down. So that's why he ran the tee times. But he's hosting a match here in June.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
so same location, I think. So that'll be interesting to see if he does that again or not.
Yeah, I know. I talked to some. I didn't shoot that match, but I talked to like 3 or 4 people that did, and they said they liked that. And I don't know. I thought it was interesting because they said that you just kind of walked up and you shot, and then you left.
Yep.
You weren't there all day, shoot and then wait and shoot and wait.
Yep. Yeah. We basically had a buddy with you, so it was me and when I shot, it was me and Brett Barnes, and we.
Brett.
So we would I'd shoot first, and then he'd shoot, and then we moved to the next stage, and we didn't think this through very well, but we'd switch who was shooting first each time. We thought, well, let's make it fair. Well, you'd get done shooting one stage, you'd go over to the next stage, and you'd be shooting
that one.
You'd immediately be shooting. Your barrel just got piping hot.
Yep.
And we didn't think that one through, but we should have just had one guy shooting first day one and the other guy shooting first on day two. But
live and learn.
Yep.
Need to get a bunch of those little rifle cools. Whee, running.
Yeah. Yeah, we didn't have those at that point, but
no. If I remember right, the PRS rules for chamber flags, because you got to have chamber flags now, right? They don't allow the magazine blocks, right?
I don't want to speak incorrectly here on if that's up to the match director's discretion or the PRS, but I mean, I personally, in most matches I've gone to, do not allow mag blocks as a chamber flag. So yeah, I mean, we want you to put a chamber flag actually in the chamber of the rifle, because that's a surefire way to know that there's nothing in there.
Yeah, I was bummed because I just gotten a mag block given to me. A guy made it. He was like, "Hey, I made this for you," and whatever. And he gave it to me, and I'm like, "I got this new mag block. It's gonna be sweet," And then I show up to your match, and it's like no mag blocks. I'm like,
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty standard across most of the matches I've been to, anyway. So we just kind of stick with that. I mean, safety is the most important thing out there when we're holding the match.
Yeah, for sure.
We get one accident, and it could be a bad deal for these matches. So.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, big time. Yeah, one accident's all it takes. There was a range up in Duluth, Deltone, Minnesota there.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to go to a match up there. It was like a 3-gun match. And during deer season, somebody lobbed a 30-06 round over a berm and shot some lady in the face, like a mile and a half away or something. And
oh my,
it didn't kill her, but it handicapped her, That's the story I heard anyway. And they ended up shutting the whole range down over it.
Yeah, that's why, I mean, we got to put safety first and foremost. So don't want anyone getting hurt, and That's, the main thing. Don't want anyone to get hurt. Secondary, we don't want these matches to get shut down. So,
I think Ken Nordstrom is the only person I've ever seen DQ himself for a safety issue.
I've seen other people do it.
Have you?
Yeah.
I've seen Ken. Ken's the only one I've seen who we were shooting. It was just 22 match, and he was like, I botched it. I'm done. I'm out. DQing myself.
Yeah. Now I've seen a few NDs before where the shooter had to call it because no one else, they hit so close to the target, but they still ND'd and they called it on themselves. So, but that just shows good integrity, I guess.
Yeah, right thing to do.
Yep.
That's the thing with these light triggers, man. There's some triggers out there that are light. I know. I'm on the I don't know, minority having I got like almost a 2-pound trigger pull.
I was gonna say that's probably about where I'm at. No one's ever accused me of having a light trigger.
Yeah.
Most people, they grab my gun and they're like, "Is this safety still on this thing?"
I know, right? If you go to somebody who hunts and that's it, and they got like a stock 700 or something, they're like, "This trigger's amazing,"
Yep.
And then you go to somebody who competes and they're like, "Why isn't it working?"
Yep. That's I talk to other shooters and I'm like, "Here, go shoot this thing," and they're like, "It won't go off." I'm like, "We got to pull the trigger harder." They're like, "Well, I think the safety's on." No, it's not.
Isn't that funny? Oh god, that's hilarious.
Yep.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about though. And I don't know. I should probably light my trigger up, but
I think it depends on what you're used to. People are like, "Well, I don't know how you shoot decent like that," and it's like, well, I'm used to it, and it's how every gun in my safe is, and it's got this. They all have the same trigger. I should say, like 90% of them have the same trigger in them, at the same pull weight, and it's what I'm used to. So
yeah. And you 2-stage or single stage?
single stage.
Single stage. I got a 2-stage trigger. So like when you got a 2-stage, by the time you've taken up the first stage, you're, kind of closing in on over half of the second stage. So
Yeah.
it's not so bad.
Yep.
But those light triggers, man, they freak me out. They're like, 6 ounces and you breathe on them and the gun goes off.
Yeah. I just don't want to ND so bad. Like I've caught myself almost bumping the trigger lightly, and I'm like not that concerned about setting it off on my gun because I know I got to put some pretty good pressure to it to actually have an issue. So I kind of like that aspect of it.
Yeah. Or a guy tunes them down too low and closes the bolt and they go off.
Yep. Yep. I've actually tried to get my triggers a little bit lighter, but they're set as low as they go. You go much lighter and that'll happen. But I'm just running the Timney. What are they, like a Hunter Elite or something like that?
Sure. Yeah, I got Huber Concepts in my rifles.
Right on.
Yeah.
Yep.
Old John Huber. He's a good dude. Makes a good trigger.
Right on.
A little eccentric.
A couple of my guns that don't have the Timneys in them, they got the Trigger Tech diamonds in them.
Oh, sure.
I like those. They're nice.
Yeah. Oh, I guess it might be an unpopular opinion, but all of those high-end triggers are all nice. They're all kind of pick one and figure it out and go from there.
Yep.
So what did you learn last year that will improve this year?
Oh, I have a list of things. So sight-in day was probably the biggest area that I'll have to improve on. I would say mainly known distance targets for guys, which I must have got lost in communication somewhere because I had 3 out there that were supposed to be known distance for everyone. I didn't have it like posted, but it must have got lost in, when I was asking people to let the shooters know as they signed in. It's not a big deal. We'll get a sign or something that we put out there. Lets people know how far away few known distance targets are, and then people wanted known distance targets from all the different props because we let them shoot off props. That's a little harder for me just because I don't want people to be shooting or know exactly what targets are from what prop on practice day, because you don't get the matchbook until after you sight in and you're leaving for the day. We don't want people going out and practicing the actual stage. So telling them distances from certain props is like, well, it's pretty obvious we're going to be shooting this target off of this prop now.
Yeah.
Last year, we just painted a few targets different color that they could shoot, and we just assumed that people would, or we told people just to range them and shoot them. I picked bigger targets so that if your range was off a little bit, it wasn't that big a deal. You could still practice off the prop, get some shooting in. But if you need to check your dope, there were supposed to be 3 there at the sight in line that were, perfect yardage. So that's probably one area that I learned on that I need to improve on. I had several comments on how we were shooting downhill for the zero board, which, I mean, if you know the layout of that land, I don't know where else to put it unless you want to walk another 300 yards.
What was the complaint, that it was going to make their 100-yard zero off because it was downhill?
Yeah.
Yeah, but downhill, what, like 4 degrees?
Yeah, probably not even that. It's not down.
It's
not
not like
that
you were
drastic.
shooting extreme angles that you were
Right.
going to start getting like, less. Plus, it's 100 yards, right?
Right. So
It seems a little bit.
most people know that that's not going to have an impact. Yeah, maybe it wasn't quite as comfortable as laying on flat ground, but it's kind of what we have to work with there. I can't really think of a better place to put it because you can't. If you shoot west, you're shooting pretty much straight down, and there's not that much room to put anything at 100 yards anyway.
Because west, I'm trying to think now. West would be the that like little river valley, that little.
Yeah, kind of almost towards the clubhouse even, and there's a house, not even a mile away that direction, so we can't really shoot that direction. So you're pretty much stuck shooting north, or I would say we could maybe shoot east, but last year they had sunflowers in that field, so it's not like I can just go knock down the crops.
Right.
I don't think the landowner would be real happy with me there, so not a lot of options on where to zero, I guess.
Mowed down 4 acres of your sunflowers.
Yep, just put up a zero board at 100 so some guys didn't have to lay downhill. But I don't think that part of it will probably change a whole lot.
It shouldn't.
It's not going to impact a guy's zero, really. I think our yardage was maybe like a couple yards off at 100, which I'll probably try to spread those zero boards out and put a narrower area where the range is from so people know, okay, from here to that zero board is exactly 100. Because we had a really wide zero line compared to most matches I go to. There's never that much room to shoot at 100.
And then you could be off the edge, and if you're not right in front of it, there goes your 100-yard. But you should be checking with your own rangefinder anyway.
Yeah.
I mean,
so that's where we ran into some of that stuff was, depending on where you were on that zero line, it might not have been exactly 100. So we're going to probably mark out some spots where we can say, okay, it's exactly 100. Obviously, you can shoot outside of this. You're just going to know that it's maybe a little bit further, which not that big a deal.
No. God, no. Not 4 yards, 8 yards.
Right. No. Yep. So there's that. And then apparently we needed to have porta-john spread out more. That was one of the comments I got back on the match reviews. So
somebody drinking too much beer with too much spicy food.
That might be it. Which not that big a deal. We can spread them out some more.
Yeah.
Easy fix. But I don't know. I don't think there was anything major that anybody had issue with that we really need to improve on. There was a couple stages where, as far as stage design goes, I probably should add targets a little bit bigger. But Ken also told me to make this one tougher because it's the AG Cup. And I'm kind of thinking it was kind of tough last year. The winner dropped like 24 points, which
Yeah.
that's a pretty tough match usually.
Yeah, even the prone match off the edge of that big river, that big washout there.
Yep.
You know what I'm talking about? Way on the, would it be the east side of the property, shooting towards the west.
Right.
If I'm,
Yeah, kind of northwest up the valley there.
yep. Boy, that was a tricky stage even. And that, like, I mean, that looking at it should have been an easy stage. I mean, easy-ish, you know.
Right.
Prone, shooting a troop line, you know.
Yep. There's a lot of stuff that even some experienced shooters were struggling with, and it was just, there's a couple valleys. Well, there's two main valleys there that split off, and that wind kind of does some goofy things because it'll come down the valley and then it splits. So you're shooting across it two different ways depending on what stage you're on or what target you're on. And then one of the stages you're kind of shooting right up the valley, so you kind of get into some headwind situations if it's out of the northwest, which it is a lot of the time. So
yeah, that's kind of exactly what I remember. I remember the wind, like, say we were shooting, it was fairly windy that day if I remember.
It was pretty windy both days.
Yeah, 20s and like 18 to 22 or something. Does that sound right?
Yeah, probably at the top end. Yeah,
because I remember getting down there towards the end of the day and shooting and being like, man, that's way more wind, and then shooting the next one and being like, well, that's not enough wind.
Yep. Yep.
A lot of that just goes back to I need to shoot more. But
yeah, that
another
makes
thing
a
everybody
difference.
makes fun of me for, shooting a big 6.5.
You're gonna be shooting a big 6.5?
Well, that's what everybody's making fun of me for there.
Oh, we shooting a PRC or what?
No, I was shooting a 6.5 Creedmoor.
Oh, well, that's not out of line for my match, I don't think.
That's what I thought.
There's a lot of people shooting 6.5 Creeds anymore.
Yeah, it kind of went away and kind of came back.
Right.
But yeah, I was between my sling and the 6.5 Creedmoor, I didn't hear the end of it all day. So now I got a 6 mil barrel sitting on the shelf. I'm going to turn into a 6 GT, I think.
Perfect. That's the way to go.
Yeah. Yeah, I did that one for theory, and that one shoots pretty good, so that kind of convinced me.
Yeah. Didn't he shoot a match this weekend?
Yeah, he won. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I thought.
Yep.
Shooting that barrel?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yep. Just tell him you want that barrel back and then spin him up a different one.
No, that's all right. I got a Krieger on the shelf, I think, an M24 contour I'm going to put on there. So I got a 24 contour on it right now, so it's just easy to, don't have to worry about anything. Just slam it on.
Yep.
That one of his, that's a straight 125 all the way down. Just big.
Oh wow.
Big tube.
Truck axle.
Yeah, it is. It looks nice though. Balance is good.
Yeah.
It's got it in the foundation.
Yep.
But yeah, that's my plan. We'll see. Maybe the first match I shoot will be your 2-day match.
Come out for the 1 day in a month.
Oh, I don't know if I'll be able to make that happen. I don't have brass. I don't have bullets.
They sell that stuff.
Yeah. It's not a matter of finding it for sale. It's a matter of paying for it after having a baby and a wrist surgery.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure that don't make it easy, but
no, it's been an expensive year so far.
Yep. I hear you.
But yeah, that's where I sit. Man, I am going to try and get to it though. We'll see if I'm shooting a 6 GT or if I'm going to limp my 6.5 barrel along one more time. I can't trust the brass though. That's the problem. I took the brass out deer season. I took some buddies out that I went deer hunting with, and I was like, oh, here, shoot this, because they know about the rifle, but they've never shot anything like that before, right? So I thought it'll be cool for them to try it out. Like those guys, they usually get a kick out of that stuff, right? The deer hunter guys, they can go out and shoot, and you set it up and they shoot 600 yards and they're just smoking a steel plate shot after shot. And they just think it's the greatest thing ever. So my buddy takes his first shot and has case head separation.
Oh, geez.
I'm like, well, great.
Yep.
And so that was the end of that. But we'll see. We'll see how it shakes out. But anybody who wants to sign up, you can go to precisionrifleseries.com and go find the match there. That'll bring you to the practice score website where you can sign up. Or if you're, either if you're used to practice score, if you're used to practice score, just go over there and sign up and get out there and find your hotel room before all the walleye fishermen do.
Yep.
Get out to the Cattleman Club, have a good dinner, make a weekend out of it.
Yeah, we plan for a fun weekend, so we'll have some side stages on Friday too. I know a lot of people like them side stages, so
yeah, I do. That's like the only chance I have at winning something.
Well, I think we'll have a couple.
One lucky shot. Yeah. Well, cool, man. Is there anything else you want to throw out there before we wrap it up?
I don't think so. Appreciate you having me on, and like you said, if you're registering on the Precision Rifle Series website, just go find THS Steel Challenge, July 20th and 21st. So
awesome.
Register from there.
Cool. So with that, everybody, like I said in the last show, if you've got somebody that you want to hear talk about stuff or some specific topics you want to hear about, I can find out who the guys are to talk about it. And I'll make a show out of it. I'm looking for people to have on. So shoot me an email, kirk@precisionriflemedia.com, or go to the website, precisionriflemedia.com, click on the contact us section. That'll shoot me an email. Facebook, Instagram, those will both get me messages. That's about all I got this week, though, guys. So with that, take care. Try to get to the range, and I'll talk to y'all next week. Thanks a lot, guys. Bye-bye.